Hello, I'm Bob Mascali, Chair of the Select Board in Falmouth.
Hi, I'm Mike Renshaw, Town Manager.
And we're here to give you a bit of an update on what's been going on at the Select Board. Since our last show, Mike, a lot has gone on.
A lot has happened in the last couple of weeks.
So, the biggest issue I think we faced in the past couple of weeks was the siting of the police station.
Definitely.
And we were able to hold a very well-attended community forum, heard from a number of different people with respect to the siting of the police station, the original recommendation from the siting committee, which did a wonderful job. PSAC, it's its acronym, the Police Station Advisory Committee, did a wonderful job and came forward with a recommendation on Brick Hill Road, on Upper Brick Hill Road, across from where the YMCA is going to be. And a number of people and some of the members on the board had some concerns about where that was in relation to Long Pond. So we had the community meeting. The recommendation came back from the committee, again, still recommending that site, but also recommending a couple of others.
Correct.
And in a somewhat unusual, we actually held a special select board meeting on November 13th to discuss the siting of the police station.
And that meeting on November 13th was very well attended as well.
Yeah.
So yes, Bob, as you mentioned, the PSAC, the advisory committee, did a great job. 9 months plus effort involved in the site selection. Ultimately presented on November 13th at the special called meeting at the Senior Center, 3 sites, and they rank ordered them. They went into that meeting on the 13th again with the preferred sites of 484 Brick Hill Road across from the future YMCA. But because of the comments that we received from select board members and the public, I asked them to go in with a couple of other options for the select board to consider. One of those was 100 Brick Hill Road, and the third site was 0 Carriage Shop Road, I believe. And again, the 484 Brick Hill site checked all of their boxes. They felt that was ultimately the best site, but because of concerns about Long Pond, and rightfully so, they opted to make as a second recommendation, second preferred site, the 100 Brick Hill Road site, which the select board opted unanimously to approve.
Yeah, and just actually they had a matrix score, and actually the number 1 and number 2 both had the same ultimate matrix score, so there's very little difference, at the end of the day between the 2 sites. I think the town staff, you and your staff, the committee, the select board, I think the process worked really well. It allowed for community involvement. It allowed for discussion amongst us on the select board. And ultimately, we came to, I think, the best decision we could.
I would agree.
For our viewers, just so you know, this parcel is generally referred to as the Augusta parcel. It kind of has access or frontage, if you will, on Brick Hill Road, and then also from the other side, heading out towards Route 28A behind Falmouth Lumber. So that's the site. Mike, tell us a little bit about what are the next steps. Now, I don't want to jump too far into town meeting, which we're going to discuss, but we did vote for some construction and design plans. So tell the viewers what the next steps are.
So right now, where we're at with the project, after site selection or leading up to site selection last week, the consultants, the engineer, architect, and our OPM, owner's project manager, will be working with staff to go from basically concept design, which is where we're at now. It's more than boxes on a map, but it doesn't have the details. So we'll be completing that design now that town meeting approved the additional funds, and I know you want to jump to that too quickly, but so really the next step is to delve into the details. The important part of completing the design stage, Bob, is that there's going to be a lot of opportunity, not only for the select board to provide input, but also the community. So we're going to be participating in additional community forums where we take those charrettes or the design models out to the community and solicit more input. So a lot more public involvement and public input is going to be solicited.
That's wonderful. I think it's important to have that input,
Yes.
and the town deserves it. So now, so leading up to town meeting, the board had a very brief meeting, the select board on November 17th, night of town meeting, and we interviewed and approved an application from Peter Clark, someone well known to the community, well involved in a number of communities committees, I'm sorry, in the past, and he's going to be joining the Affordable Housing Committee, and getting up to speed. He had some really good input and comments when the board interviewed him for the position, and we're looking forward to him being part of a very, very vibrant and important committee here in town.
It sure is, and I'm excited to be able to work with Peter again in this new capacity. He just brings a huge amount of knowledge about the community. As you know, Bob, being a previous former educator, career educator, I think he's going to bring a different perspective to the committee. So we're looking forward to it.
And I know the committee is looking forward to having Peter be part of it. So we get to the town meeting. So I think at the top level, I think we had 219 town meeting members present, and I think if my numbers are correct, I think the full number is 243. So a very good showing from town meeting members. Just for a little bit of information for our viewers, Falmouth holds their representative town meetings, which means the town is split into 9 precincts, and each precinct votes a certain number of members, equal number of members amongst the precincts. Some towns have open town meetings, which can have as many as 1,500 people, and but Falmouth handles it a different way. And another unique way for Falmouth is that we actually have 2 meetings.
Very unique.
2 town meetings a year, and maybe you could tell us, the difference, mostly around finances. Actually,
it is. That is
the
biggest distinction. So yeah, 2 annual town meetings. One in November. I'll start with where we're just the one we just completed. The November town meeting is typically related to capital budgeting items in the budget cycle. So replacing aged equipment, infrastructure, that sort of thing. And then as we complete November town meeting, we gear up and start working, staff and I, on preparing the April town meeting warrant. And an April town meeting, that's typically not typically, that is the operational budget, the day-to-day operations.
So it's a full year-round cycle.
It is a year-round cycle
for you and your staff to come up with these
it is.
monies.
It is.
We
complete one phase and then move immediately into preparing for the next phase.
So why don't we jump right into to the warrant? Here we are. We had 24 articles.
We did.
And a number of them were rather standard, and were able to pass on what's called the blanket a vote that the moderator, our good friend and state representative David Vieira, is our longtime moderator of town meeting, and we moved through some of the articles without too much discussion or controversy. But I think what's on many people's minds is the dollars and cents, and that capital budget, and we went through it in pretty good detail. Answered some questions, but Mike, why don't you hit us with the highlights of the capital budget?
I'll give a 30,000-foot overview. So a large capital spend this upcoming FY fiscal year 27, larger than last year by about $7 million. The adopted, approved FY 26 capital budget was $26.3 million in spend, as compared to about 19.4 last year. One of the issues that we always struggle with, Bob, is trying to limit the use of our free cash, the surplus funds. And as we try to fund the capital budget, we try to rely on reappropriation or transfer of existing article monies that were not used, and then alternative funding sources like revolving funds and whatnot. So of the $26.3 million overall spend, about $16.1 million in free cash. That I always like to point out to town meeting how that compared to the previous year. Last year's approved capital plan was about $19.4 million overall spend, and we utilized a little over $14 million in free cash. So, relative to the scale, about equal amounts. But again, the intent is always to limit the use of free cash, because you always want to try to build those. Those are your reserves, and it's important to be fiscally conservative and have a healthy financial condition to keep as much of that free cash balance on hand as possible. So the major increases from last year to this year, a couple of large ticket items, for lack of a better term. $3.2 million for the Trotting Park baseball field, remediation and then reconstruction, literally, of the 3 ball fields on that site. We're endeavoring, as you know, each year for the next 10 years, we're looking to replace aged water lines. So our water mains are needing to be replaced on a regular basis. So each year we look to spend about $3 million in water main replacement. This year, because of the sewer main project, we were looking to do some additional water main replacement along Brick Kiln. We figured as long as the contractors were out there doing the sewer main installation, it would be a good time with the road opened up to do the water as well. So, so we added about another $1.6 million spend to what's typically so about $4.5 million overall in water main replacements. Some work being done at the library. We're finally moving forward with getting the windows, the phase 2 of the windows replaced at the main library. So just a lot of exciting projects moving forward. In addition to, I guess the big one that was the topic, Article 9, the police facility engineering design to carry us again from that concept phase through final engineering design to bid documents, so that we're prepared to go out to bid.
Just so for clarification, why did that have its own separate article, which was voted on for the police station?
So it was
as opposed to being part of the other.
Great question.
Budget.
And actually, the funding for the engineering
included some money.
It did.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is it was the major portion, $4.45 million of the $5.15 million overall spend for the engineering design of the facility was a borrow. So a larger portion was a borrow. Requires 2/3 votes and actually a ballot measure, right, that's going to be prepared. So $700,000, the remaining $700,000 was from, as I mentioned earlier, reappropriation or transfer of unspent monies. So that's why we had them split between Article 3 and Article 9.
But we don't feel that extra borrowed money or what's going to be borrowed is going to have an impact at this point on people's taxes.
It will not. It will not. That's a great point. And I mentioned that Monday at town meeting. This borrow of $4.45 million will not have an impact on taxes. Will not raise taxes. Going forward, as I pointed out Monday at town meeting, when we ultimately go out to borrow the construction funds, we're estimating at about $65 million. That will impact property tax rates. Not to belabor it, but a number of people have questioned the relative cost for what we anticipate for that police station and what other comparable or not comparable, but other police stations may cost, or what the YMCA across the street. Just maybe tell people a little bit about why it's probably going to be in that range. Sure.
What we need for that.
Yeah, great question, and I questioned it as well.
Yeah.
As I mentioned, the advisory committee has been working for probably the past 6 months solid with the engineer architect in programming and talking to the police department, the command staff, trying to identify and understand what their space needs are. So based upon current staffing, they barely fit into the current station. We all know that. And based upon projected growth, not significant, but based upon projected growth of the number of staff at the police department, that's going to require a larger building. So going from approximately 20,000, maybe a little under that, 20,000 square feet, to about 42,000 is what they're projected at right now. And a lot of thought and a lot of deliberation went into that. There was some, and I led some of this discussion looking at reducing some of the square footage as best we could. And a lot of the conversations, Bob, that I'm hearing, people comparing, this this future facility to others that have been built recently. We've seen a huge escalation in construction costs just within the past 18 months. and we project that to continue, unfortunately, with supply chain issues and whatnot. So there's been a significant increase in the cost of building any building. Police facilities, public safety facilities are unique in that their construction is a little bit more robust, I would say, and their needs are a little bit more unique as well. So that all adds to cost of the square footage cost.
You know, and the concern with the rising costs of construction material and so forth is, you know, certainly one of the reasons why we wanted to move forward with the siting and getting the design plans and specs in place, because, you know, any delay is going to end up costing us more money at the end of the day.
That's correct, and our OPM, Owner's Project Manager, estimated that additional cost was about $1 million every 6 months of delay. So in terms of the cost escalation.
You know, one of the great things about town meeting is members can get up and make amendments and you know, suggest amendments to the group. And the one I just wanted to spend a few moments on, Mike, if you don't mind, was the proposed amendment by Mr. Duffany to add $2 million, I think it was, to the Trotting Park line item to you know, to accommodate artificial turf. And you know, there was a very good reasoning and rationale because that would have eaten into free cash and left us with practically a very small amount. So why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, yeah, Mr. Duffy had proposed a couple of layers to this. As you know, and some of the listeners know, community preservation funds cannot be utilized to construct artificial surface fields.
That's a state law.
That is a state law.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So because of that, we had to rethink the multi-purpose field over at Trotting Park, the soccer and football field, going from synthetic to perhaps natural grass. Mr. Duffy made that proposed amendment from the floor to spend an additional, I think it was $2.5 million of free cash. The chair of the Finance Committee, Keith Schwagel, made a comment, and rightfully so. The current balance of free cash is around $4 million. So that would have taken us down dangerously low, in his and in my opinion, that $1.5 million figure. So we recommended against that. And although I understand and respect Mr. Duffy's position and his thought, yeah, we have to be cognizant of the impact overall on the town's finances.
Yeah, it's a fiscally conservative move, and I think, you know, over the next months we're going to continue this discussion about artificial as opposed to turf. But that was the reason why that particular amendment didn't go forward. There just wasn't really enough money available.
Wasn't feasible. Wasn't realistic.
So moving on towards the you know, towards the warrant. One of the articles had to do with our town clerk, and we've been very lucky that we've had Michael Palmer be our town clerk for 20-odd years, and you know, Michael has indicated his interest to maybe, you know, leave that post at some point in the future, and he has supported that the position of town clerk be changed from an elected position, which has been the way he has become our town clerk, to an appointed position. And the vote, I think it was close to unanimous, a couple of dissenting votes in the audience, was that we have to now petition actually the general court, which is what we officially call the state legislature, to be able to change our charter to provide that the town clerk would be an appointed position, and that appointment would be from you, Mike.
Is the appointing authority, and according to our charter, the town manager is the appointing authority. It would be my appointment. I would bring that appointment to the select board, and I think this is where you're going with that question. Bring that appointment eventually to the select board, and select board has the responsibility of affirming that appointment, or not.
Yeah. And of course, I mean, the position of a town clerk is very important. He's a custodian of town records and a number of other important duties, but clearly the most important is running elections, especially in these times. They can sometimes be challenging. So, you know, I think by having an appointment process with someone who is qualified, has experience, possibly in a town clerk or assistant town clerk position, is a much better situation for the town to have than an elected town clerk. As I said, we've been very lucky that Michael has been our town clerk, elected town clerk, but this will be a new process at some point. Hopefully the legislature will agree, give us that ability. The next article or articles I'd like to talk about is the Cape Cod Country Club.
Yes.
And excuse me, there were two articles that the town, the select board, excuse me, recommended, and the first had to do with accepting a donation and some other provisions which would authorize the select board, you, to be able to negotiate with the Blue Sky. So why don't you tell us a little bit about those two articles?
So yes, so Articles 12 and 13. Article 12 was, as you mentioned, Bob, the article that allowed the town to accept the donation of the 140
something like
plus or minus acres.
Yeah.
And there's a percentage of that acreage that is going to be carved out and held in conservation, open space, I should say. And then the balance would be comprise the solar developments. So Article 11 authorized that acceptance of the donation, and also authorized, as you mentioned, the town manager working with town council and staff to negotiate the power purchase agreements and lease agreements and whatnot. Ultimately, we bring that lease agreement back to select board because it's a lease. We lease back the land, I should say, that's been donated back to Pure Sky, the solar developer. Article 13 was an article, as town council explained, that allows us to go kind of outside of the 30B and allow us to basically enter into this lease agreement.
30B being the procurement.
The procurement law under state MGL. So it allows us to operate kind of outside of the boundaries of that Section 30B of MGL. And just kind of makes that process a little more seamless. And Article 14 was a petitioner's article that looked to take that land, which is within the solar development overlay district, out of the overlay district. But with the passage of Articles 11 and 12, or 12 and 13, 12 and 13, it allowed the town to move forward with that partnership, quite honestly, with the developer, Pure Sky. And as was talked about during town meeting and at the precinct meetings, we felt in consultation with town council that regardless of whether or not the town accepted the donation, the project was likely to move forward. So what it came down to, in my opinion and others, was that this provided an opportunity for the town to be a partner and to have some influence and say over the development.
And the town will benefit from lease payments.
Lease payments.
Payment in lieu of tax arrangements.
Pilot payments.
And plenty of provisions to assure that the decommissioning in the event or at the end of the lease, or if something should happen to Blue Sky within the interim, so that the town is not going to be negatively impacted as a result of this project.
Correct. And the decommissioning is a hugely important topic. Thank you for bringing that up. And Pure Sky, the developer, would post a bond that would guarantee, and that the cost of that, or the amount covered by that bond, would be reviewed every 5 years to make sure that with changing values of the development, the town would always be covered in the event that something happened in the development. The developer.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think since I've been on the select board I've ever received as many emails and entreaties from concerned residents, concerned about the recreation that was always there at Cape Cod Country Club, the ecological, environmental issues, all of which were very valid points, and certainly I think we're all sorry to see such a wonderful historic country club as Cape Cod Country Club is or was. To lose it, but by the same token, the support for the town's position was really overwhelming. The vote was quite much in favor of moving forward. You know, notwithstanding a lot of people who were, you know, concerned about, you know, the town not being, you know, part of the
Correct.
part of the solar project. But I agree with you. I think, you know, it would have gone forward regardless. And we wouldn't have known what the situation was. We might not have got, at the end of 40 years, we got everything back.
That's a huge point.
You know, and that's certainly a huge point. And interestingly, it was supported by the Coonamessett Pond Group and our Freshwater Ponds Committee, Kim Conart. So you know, I think it was, again, the right decision, and you know, I'm glad that it went forward as it did. And then I guess the only other article that really generated some concern had to do with the parcel there down at the end of West Falmouth Highway towards Sipawesset, and zero West Falmouth Highway.
Right.
And you know, the town some time ago, thanks to you and Jed Cornock and staff, we identified certain parcels of real estate that the town owned, and had been, you know, something we've been thinking about for a while to make land available for affordable housing, and we have issued RFPs for 4 separate parcels, that zero West Falmouth Highway being one of those parcels, and a petitioner had requested that the town take care and custody of this parcel and place a restriction on it. You want to talk a little bit about the parcel? I mean,
Sure.
It's an interesting parcel and one that needs to, even as we go forward, you know, take a careful look at. But I'm curious to know your thoughts about it.
So sure. It is an interestingly shaped, kind of a triangular piece of property, as you mentioned, zero West Falmouth Highway, in that area, 28A, I believe. And a lot of concern was expressed at precinct meetings leading up to town meeting and at town meeting floor about potential traffic safety issues, right, in that area. I can say this, you know, from my perspective, any development will have to take those traffic safety considerations into account and plan for that as part of the development. So we'll take a hard look at that. There were also a lot of comments raised in regards to the proximity of zero West Falmouth Highway, the parcel, to Long Pond, very similar to the conversations we had about Brick Kiln property for the police facility. There was an opinion that because it was on the opposite side of West Falmouth Highway, that perhaps the impact would not be that significant. But again, that was two of the major concerns. And again, for my part, we're going to ensure, and ultimately it's going to come down to the select board, Bob, as you know, once the RFPs come back, and that's 1 of 4, whether or not we even move forward with it.
Yeah.
If the select board is not satisfied with the proposal and how some of those concerns will be addressed, then the select board has the option of not moving forward with it.
Yeah, and I think that's a wonderful point to make, Mike. It's, you know, we wanted to get the information out there. We wanted to hear proposals from people who are interested in affordable housing, developing affordable housing, which we very much need in this town. But at the end of the day, all we've done is said, okay, tell us what you think. We haven't made any decisions with respect to any of the parcels.
Right. Show us your plan.
Yep.
Yeah.
So very quickly, we're almost at our time, but our next town meeting will be April 6, 2026. And Mike, I just want to let people know about this meeting that the Select Board is going to have this coming Saturday, and our strategic plan, and let people know what it is we're trying to think about, you know, strategically.
Sure. So we have a 5-year strategic plan, fiscal year 23 through fiscal year 27, and we're coming up, obviously, on the end of that 5-year cycle. Each year, the Select Board convenes in a workshop setting. We have historically to review the plan from cover to back and make adjustments, amendments, because as any good plan, you know, Bob, it's a living document, so it has to be amended and reviewed periodically. This year, rather than having one workshop, we decided to break it out into 3 separate 4-hour workshops. So this will be our second session this coming Saturday, November 22nd, and we're going to hold it over at Town Hall in the Select Board meeting room. We're working with a consultant. That's another difference this year than perhaps previous years, working with a consultant from University of Massachusetts, Boston, Collins Center. And we're looking specifically this go-around at the goals and objectives within each of the 7 key focus areas of the plan, making sure that that those goals and objectives are objective and measurable.
Yeah, and give us a timeline and some milestones to click off. And thank you, Mike, for bringing in that consultant and focusing us on the need for a real good strategic plan, which is where we're headed. So we are at the end of our time. Thank you, Mike. Thank FCTV, as always, for giving us the opportunity to talk about what's going on at the Select Board. Our next meeting will be December 1st, Monday, December 1st. So everyone have a happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you sometime after December 1st.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Thank you.